This is well planned out. We have rehearsed this broadcast
for
hours.
For those who are watching, you now get a chance for the very first time to see John's organizational skills.
Really?
He brought his file cabinet with him.
Filing cabinet. I don't know what camera I'm looking at here. Right here? There? That's it. Back in the day, I was a player. This was my black book.
So every once in a while, when you hear him shuffling through or looking for something, well-oiled machine right there.
So I hear John Pizzarelli's in town.
I've heard that as well.
Yes, at Jazz at the Bistro, which is not called Jazz at the Bistro anymore. Is it still called Jazz at the Bistro?
Yeah, I think so. That's
well,
where I
they
am.
made it all fancy now, and it's got all
Jazz St.
kinds of-
Louis, Jazz at the Bistro, the whole thing.
Right, and you're back for like your 100. How many times have you played here?
It's almost 20 years.
Yeah,
once a year for almost 20 years.
Do you have a St. Louis tie other than that? Because we've kind of adopted you, but
no, I mean it started because Ray Kennedy was from here. So
Right.
when we worked at the Majestic originally, and then we worked at Sheldon and other places around here, but mostly at Jazz at the Bistro. So
you worked the Majestic, and so did a lot of other people, and it was because of that and going down there, being a fan of the art, that I own one of Al Gray's
cufflinks.
Cufflinks.
Wow.
Because he dropped it, and he was.
Does that mean you own it?
I found it after
Finders
he
keepers.
left.
Come
after
on.
he left, so I have one cufflink that belonged to the great Al Gray.
Wow.
Played trombone and that, what's the thing? That
plunger mute trombone.
But he used a real plunger.
How does it sound?
You know, like a toilet plunger.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, I hope that's new. You know, as opposed to, I'll be right back. I got to get some equipment here in the men's room.
He's a pivotal sound on Sinatra at the Sands. You can hear that plunger sound.
Yeah, exactly. How many records? How many records do you have out?
I think it's about 21 under my own name, and then there's another 40, I think, that I've been part of.
Are you a studio player too? Where if we looked at all your creds, you're like
There's
like
about,
Steve Lukather of jazz guitar work.
Yeah, well, Bucky, I think my father's more of that. But in the last 20 years, I've done some very interesting studio things. Natalie Cole, Ricky Lee Jones, James Taylor, Paul McCartney, Rosie Clooney.
Who was horrible?
Name dropper. Who was name dropper?
who was throwing stuff at you and just oh God, let me out of here.
I think the most difficult one, since I'm going down that track. Well, not difficult, but. Ricky Lee Jones was very particular in what she wanted. It was so funny because she said something. She was like singing like "Embraceable
Chuck is in
You."
love. I don't know what else
and
she would sing.
She went like "Embrace me," and I hit a chord, boom, figuring she'd say "My Sweet Embraceable You," but I hit the next chord. She said, "What's your hurry?" So I knew it was going to be a long song.
I don't know. When was your last hit, Ricky? Just out of curiosity.
Those were difficult times.
What about the other side of, you know what? You don't have to give me the check. This experience, I would think Paul McCartney, that had to be.
Paul McCartney was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I've said one of my favorite stories was he was singing the song Cheek to Cheek. And the bridge says, "I love to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but it doesn't throw me half as much as dancing cheek to cheek." And when he sang
What's your hurry, John? They didn't sing it that fast.
No, but he sang, "I love to go out swimming in a river or a creek." And we said, "Why did you sing swimming?" And he goes, "Don't fish." And we said, "Really? Why not?" And he said, "I'm a vegetarian."
You also did John Pizzarelli Sings the Beatles.
Right.
Which I loved.
Thank you.
By the way.
That makes two of us.
Was that before you worked with Paul, or was it after?
No, it was before. That was 1996.
Yeah.
And when I met him in the studio 16 years later, he said to me, "You made a Beatles CD." And I didn't know what he was going to say. I literally dropped it off at MPL in London in 1996.
And ran. hit the bell, ran out the door.
And he said, "Oh, it's very good." I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." He goes, "Well, you left it for me and everything." I said, "Well, it was 16 years ago. I didn't realize you were not writing notes."
Can we indulge you to maybe do something off
No, I don't do that anymore. I would love to. Oh, I could do something. Sure. I was kidding. I'll
don't wanna
play.
put you on the
I'm
spot.
going to walk
God,
now. The camera's going to follow me.
I forgot how difficult you were to work with. John Pizzarelli, by the way, is in town performing jazz at the Bistro through and including Saturday night, and we'll tell you how to get tickets. Of course, that down in Grand Center should be an enjoyable show, and there'll be stories along with everything else. So, you do whatever you want to do, but I thought maybe something off that beat. Just play what you want to play. Some Ricky Lee Jones would be nice.
I'll buy you a diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. I'll get you anything, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. I may not have a lot to give, but what I got, I'll give to you. I may not have a lot to live, but what I got, I'll give to you. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. I can't buy me love. Everybody tells me so. Can't buy me love. Oh, no. Say I don't need no diamond rings. I'll be satisfied. Tell me that you want those kind of things that money just can't buy. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. Can't buy me love. Oh, everybody tells me so. Can't buy me love. Oh, no. Say I don't need no diamond rings. I'll be satisfied. Tell me that you want those kind of things the money just can't buy. I don't care too much for money. Do-da. Money can't buy me love. No.
John Pizzarelli, there's a reason to go right there. Jazz at the Bistro through Saturday and including Saturday. What do you think of that?
I'm so envious. I'm not envious of anything except for one thing. People who are musically talented like that. Unbelievable.
And I just saw George Benson has a new record out, and he's one of the only other guys I know who does that while he's playing. And I'm surprised more guitar players don't do that because you know the notes you're going to hit.
That's right.
It's not like, I'm going to guess, I'm going to scat against what you're playing. You're playing it. I'm surprised more people don't do that.
I know. It's that's the thing. You figured it out. You exactly know the notes that are coming out. So whenever you're stuck there, you go. It's all right there. Everybody should do it. Let's all learn it before the end of the day. Put that on our agenda.
Can you do a duet with yourself?
Well, you sort of can.
That's kind of personal. Should we dim the lights, Johnny?
Well, is it early enough in the day?
What are you doing this time around? I mean, with 21 plus albums, what are people going to get this weekend?
Well, we'll do a lot from the current album's called Double Exposure. It's been out for a while. And then we'll have a Johnny Mercer record coming out later this year. But mostly we just cover the gamut of everything that's been out there and let the people enjoy the last 20 years of John Pizzarelli as we know they can.
Well, I know we have been.
Well, thank you very much.
So what's on the list of the, on the bucket list? John Pizzarelli plays the music of Yanni or something.
Yes, Yanni would be good. Yanni's on the list. Paul McCartney is on the list. Johnny Mercer's on the list. And then it's always about, you just wait for ideas to come to you. The Johnny Mercer one was a big one because it started almost 20 years ago, too, with a show that I did of Johnny Mercer songs, and then finally to put it together on a record was good. It's always things that happen along the way that inspire you to what's going to happen. You never really have a plan. Sword Ties isn't so hot.
A lot of music in the family, and you better give some love to the wife who gave you beautiful children, and also a singer, Jessica.
Jessica Molaski, who I open with at the Carlisle in New York on Tuesday, October 28th through November 22nd in New York. You bring the private jet in, we'll hook you right up.
So I always thought, how romantic is that? And when James Taylor and Carly Simon were married, I just pictured them having breakfast and it would be mock. Yeah, some toast. Yeah, here you go. I love you. Yeah.
Jelly.
And then you find out he was on heroin and it was just a man. It really wasn't.
Some heroin, yeah.
Smack. Ooh.
We're all stoned now. Everybody, have you heard?
But talk about working with your spouse, your partner on stage. I mean, how if say there's a little.
We both sort of work the same way. It really is for both of us. Probably her more than me. It's difficult, but fun. It's just it's a long and arduous process to put together, especially for the Carlisle. It's a set show, so you got to get 75 minutes of new material every year. This is our 9th year. And you never really know what the theme's going to be. They always go, "What's your theme? You have a theme?" You're like, no theme just yet." And then it's just crazy. But it's very rewarding when it's all said and done, and we all look at each other and say, "We're never going to do this again, right?" And then it's now the 10th year, So it's amazing because there's a lot of jazz and there's a lot of Broadway, and it's all colliding and coming together in a really great musical way.
And you said your daughter is 16?
My daughter's 16.
And is she going to join the family on stage
with any
from
luck?
this point forward?
Well, not with luck. I think she's sort of she's going to take music and go to college and combine music with whatever else she wants to do, like maybe writing or something like that. I think the performing aspect of it, I think, is rather daunting to her, although she does it very well. But I think there's other irons in the fire. I think that will prove very lucrative for her and hopefully for her parents.
I smell a Pizzarelli Branson Christmas special. Get you.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful. Take it, Mom.
Most of your work is jazz. It's rooted in jazz. What do you listen to or do you like to play that would stun us?
Oh, that would stun you?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing that would stun you.
I mean, is there a Motorhead on your iPod?
That's way too current for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I get, let's see, as current as I get is Mumford & Sons, but I don't play Mumford & Sons because my daughter said, you should enjoy Mumford & Sons. So I have the 3 songs that I'm supposed to like by Mumford & Sons just so I can say them on a radio show like I'm sort of current.
So then what music would you not want to touch with a 10-foot pole?
Not want to touch?
Yeah, you don't even want to think about. Is it just the modern pop music, or?
Well, most of the modern pop music is horrible. But there is still, like, I think Mumford & Sons is okay. I mean, there's actually a song there. There's a lot of songs now that's more about maybe the idea of the beat and then some kind of wacky video associated with that beat and then some really dumb lyric.
Disco.
There you go.
Disco is brilliant.
Girl, I know you very well. Seen you down and everything.
You guys still remember the Bee Gees? That's I'm way over your heads now. I apologize.
I had the 8-track and the album.
There
the
you
double
go.
album, I might
It's the
add.
8-track that's worth something.
I believe Yvonne Elliman was the next cut on the record.
If I can't have you, I don't want nobody,
Just
baby.
in case you didn't trust me. All right, so you were performing at Jazz at the Bistro through and including Saturday night. Who's with you?
Konrad Peshkutsky from Perth, Australia on piano, Kevin Canner from Los Angeles on drums, Martin Pizzarelli still on bass.
Of the Ohio Pishkutskis?
Yes, the Peshkutskis, yes. It's its own chain of restaurants.
They have a good team this year, too, from what I've read.
Fantastic, yes.
And your brother.
And Martin Pizzarelli in his 50th year with me.
Wow. Well, I hope it works out.
Yeah,
And he gets off secret probation soon. You got a website? Are you doing any of that? Or got the kids doing it?
JohnPizzarelli.com. You can like me on Facebook. I mean, doesn't everybody like me on Facebook?
Absolutely.
I think so.
Do you tweet or do you know what that is?
Well, not right now.
yet?
Do we have time?
Do you tweet?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I'm at It's the Piz.
At?
Because my son took mine. It's the Piz, P-I-Z-Z.
Your son is squatting on
My
your
son
domain.
took John Pizzarelli, and he's like, well, I don't really use it. I said, could I have it? Well, I don't know how to do it. So
I'll swell it, sell it to you, Dad.
I think he's John Pizzarelli on Instagram. I'm Van Epps on Instagram.
Right.
It's terrible.
Well, Van Epps, it has been a slice of heaven, and I'm glad St. Louis
Hopefully a big, healthy slice.
remains a stop as always. Good to see you.
Thanks for
buddy.
having me, you
Thank
guys.
you
Appreciate
for coming in. John Pizzarelli, what do you think of that?
This is great.
Yeah, he could do
What are
the
you
show.
doing for the next hour and 40 minutes?
You want to host the show? Why know you got? This is your media tour.
This is my media tour. This is
stuff
it.
to do.
I've done my stations, and now I'm going to go out to SIE and teach college kids what not to do with the guitar.
Okay.
For about a half an hour.
What's the first lesson on what not to do with the guitar?
Please play the melody. So don't not play the melody. So it's a double negative. So play the melody. Learn the melodies.
And sentences ain't important.
That's
as
right.
Melodies are. Good to see you. Best to the family, Johnny.
God bless.
All right, it is 25 after. We got stuff to do coming